Oh my goodness, guys, what a roller coaster that was. I gotta say, the disappointment in Detroit is absolutely palpable right now. Coming into this game, there was this electrifying sense of optimism, right? But to see the Lions struggle the way they did against a blitz-heavy Minnesota defense, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, Jared Goff showed flashes with those 2 touchdown passes, but even heroics can't save a ship when the offensive line's basically folding like a deck of cards, letting 5 sacks through. They were all over the place. And let's talk about that rushing game, or lack thereof. With David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs barely making a dent, it's insane how unbalanced they looked out there. You could feel the frustration every time they failed to capitalize on a 3rd down. Going a painful 5 for 17, it just wasn't happening for them, was it? I think we all felt those penalties, 10 for 76 yards, just slap them back each time momentum seemed possible. Now, if they don't tighten up and find some consistency, how do they bounce back? Especially with Commanders on the horizon. So here's the thing, folks. Subscribe and stick around because we've got a lot more to unpack. Alright, let's dive right into it and chat about Jared Goff under the microscope. So, here's the thing. Goff put up some respectable numbers, right? I'm talking about 284 passing yards and hitting nearly 68% of his passes, plus tossing in 2 touchdowns. Those stats sound pretty solid, but, and here's the kicker, those 5 sacks, absolutely brutal. That's where the game shifted for him and the Lions, no joke. The Vikings just kept coming. And didn't they make it count? Now, I know what you're thinking. Goff's been pretty reliable under pressure in the past, hasn't he? Maybe a little too comfortable sometimes, but you have to wonder what went wrong this time. I mean, it's not like they didn't see the blitz coming, right? We all knew the Vikings were going to bring that heat. And yet, it seemed like every time Goff dropped back, it was like they were waiting for him. It was insane. Here's the concern. These sacks didn't just backtrack the Lions in terms of field position, but completely derailed their rhythm. It was like Goff was constantly being forced to make snap decisions, and not in a good way. Going forward, this is a glaring issue for Detroit. They need to find some way, anyway, to shore up that protection for him. Because without keeping him upright, they're always going to struggle against defenses that, frankly, aren't even as good as what Minnesota threw at them. This has to be priority number 1, right? Now let's shift gears and talk about the Vikings' defensive strategy. I mean, wow. Where do you even start with that? They absolutely smothered the Lions, and it was all orchestrated brilliantly by Brian Flores. We expected a blitz-heavy approach coming into this game, but the way the Vikings executed was just something else. I'm talking about relentless pressure that dismantled the Lions' offense repeatedly. They recorded 5 sacks, folks. That's not a joke. And let's be honest, it wasn't just about the sacks. It was the hits, the relentless chase, the way they got into Jared Goff's head. It's something that really told the story of the game. So here's the thing. Minnesota didn't just show up with brute force. They played with sophistication. They created mismatches at the line of scrimmage, mixing up alignments and really using the chess pieces on their defensive line effectively. Eric Wilson was a revelation out there with his 2 sacks, adding layers to their game. But it wasn't just him. Guys like Blake Cashman also played a pivotal role. Their ability to confuse and pressure the Lions' offensive line was a testament to just how tactically sound the Vikings were on the day. And you know what? This isn't just some flash in the pan. It's a clear indication of what Minnesota's defensive intent is this season. Aggression, pressure, and disruption as their core. If they can maintain this intensity, they're going to be a serious threat in the NFC North. Watch out, because this defense looks primed and ready to wreak havoc as the season progresses. Now, while the Vikings' defense was keeping everyone on their toes, let's talk about the other side of the ball. Folks, specifically the Lions' standout performers who shone under the spotlight, even amidst adversity. Man, if there's one guy who refused to be silenced, it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. 9 receptions for 97 yards, crazy consistent. He was like a safety valve for Goff, finding gaps, shaking off tight coverage, and showing why he's such a reliable target. I mean, his ability to fight through Minnesota's defensive smothering was just, well, sensational. And then you've got Sam Laporta stealing the show with that outrageous 40-yard touchdown grab. This guy, just a rookie, is proving to be a dynamic piece in the Lions' arsenal. 6 grabs, 97 yards alongside St. Brown, insane numbers despite the loss. It's like every time Laporta touched the ball, there was this electric sense of potential buzzing through the field. The coordination we saw between him and Goff. Definitely something Detroit needs to capitalize on. These performances highlight how critical these playmakers are moving forward. Their contributions can't be downplayed. If Detroit can figure out how to better integrate these talents into their wider strategy, maybe some more play-action plays or screens that capitalize on their skill sets, they could really shift the narrative in future matchups. Keep an eye on these two because they're going to be pivotal in lifting this offense to new heights if used. Right. Moving on from the offensive spark provided by St. Brown and Laporta, let's switch gears to the impact J.J. McCarthy had on the Vikings. Stepping up in a fiercely contested divisional showdown, McCarthy's contribution was, I think, a massive game changer. Despite a modest 116 yards passing, his output shouldn't just be measured in numbers. His 2 touchdown passes were clutch, delivering the points right when the Vikings needed them most. It's the kind of timing that really turns the tide. Now, here's where McCarthy becomes intriguing, his dual-threat nature. Man, that 9-yard rushing touchdown, it was absolutely pivotal. It kind of just highlighted his knack for making something out of nothing. Against a Lions defense that seemed ready to collapse on him, he showed poise and improvisation, which you just can't teach. You know what I mean? But wait, there's more. We saw his ability to remain composed under Detroit's pressure. 5 sacks and still standing. McCarthy managed the game's tempo, exploiting Detroit's defensive lapses precisely when it mattered most. This adaptability in tight moments was crucial and, to be honest, showed signs of brilliance, leading to pivotal scoring drives that ultimately might steer Minnesota's season. His presence gives the Vikings a leg up, providing tactical variation other teams need to plan against. If McCarthy can hone his pocket passing further, we could witness Minnesota thriving by exploiting his complete skill set. Basically, as the Vikings push for the playoffs, McCarthy could very well be the linchpin in their offensive strategy, spinning games in their favor through his dynamic capabilities. Now, speaking of spinning games in their favor, let's dive right into those pivotal moments where the Minnesota Vikings shifted the momentum to seize control. It's not just about the stars, it's these game-turning plays that spell victory or defeat. Starting with that blocked field goal, man, what a disruption it was for the Lions. You've got the Lions lined up, probably feeling good about stabilizing the score a little, and bam! The Vikings' special teams come through with a massive play that just knocked the wind right out of Detroit's sails. And let's talk about morale, because I think that moment had a bigger impact than just the scoreboard. Picture this. Detroit's ready to shift some momentum back, maybe turn the tides a little, and then suddenly they're left grappling with the reality of a missed opportunity. That block placed an exclamation point on Minnesota's assertiveness throughout the game. It was incredible. Then you have J.J. McCarthy charging into the end zone on a 9-yard run. It wasn't about the yardage as much as what it did to the lead. Huge. Absolutely placed the Vikings in the driver's seat and honestly forced the Lions to start scrambling. You could see it. That was a real turning point. And these shifts in momentum, oh, they were a game changer. The Vikings' ability to exploit these key moments, that's what kept the Lions at bay despite their efforts. It all came down to keeping the tempo in their favor and capitalizing when it mattered most, effectively putting a damper on any Detroit comeback dreams. So, looking ahead, what do the Lions need to change to rise from this loss? Well, first things first, we've got to talk about their vulnerabilities. Look, this game shed light on significant cracks in their pass protection. 5 times Goff was taken down, folks. I mean, let's be honest, it was almost like watching a deja vu of last season's offensive line issues. To foster change, incorporating extra support with tight ends or running backs during pass plays could be a game changer. It's really about giving Goff the breathing room he needs to work his magic, especially on crucial third downs. Honestly, what's pretty essential is leveraging the explosive talents of players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta more effectively. If the Lions can refine their playbook to maximize these guys' strengths, it could open up fresh scoring avenues. Think about it. St. Brown caught nearly everything thrown his way, and Laporta, with those game-changing moments, he's just begging for more play action or screen opportunities. But here's the kicker. Defensively, the Lions just have to lock down their strategy against dual-threat quarterbacks. With someone like McCarthy shaking things up, focusing on edge containment and deploying a spy on guys who think they can waltz into the end zone is a must. All right, Lions fans, this is where you come in. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Where do you think Detroit should focus their tactics next? Let's get this conversation going and see how we can rally for a stronger showing against the Commanders.